What's up, Wastelanders? Welcome back to another adventure in the good old Capital Wasteland. I've been pumped for this run for quite a while because I really like the crafted weapons in this game, as well as this game's crafting system, so it'll be cool to show them off. And unlike in other runs, we're not console commanding in anything. That's right, we're gonna have to track down the schematics and earn them without any weapons. That's part of the fun of this challenge, in my opinion. Those of you who have been here for a while know that unless we're running faction warriors, or I specify otherwise, that we run characters and try to make decisions based off what they would do, and we're also using their special allocation and tag skills. Well, we are still going to be doing that, but today we're playing as an OC because there's no crafted weapons character, and we'll set the scene here in just a sec. But first, let's check out our special allocation. All in all, we got a pretty standard score here. Figured that we didn't want to lack in any particular stat, and we usually don't get the opportunity to play as our own character. As for tag skills, I had a lot of choices to go with, but here's what I ended up going with. Big guns, since we actually haven't had that as a tag skill yet. Plus that'll help out with our rocket launcher damage. Repair, because it's a key skill in regards to how the crafting system in this game works. And science, because the gadgets feel all techy, and we haven't been to Vault 106 in a good while. If you're new here, just know that the tag skills are important because in our Fallout 3 runs, we also tracked down the bobbleheads pertaining to our tag skills. We haven't had repair or big guns as a tag skill yet, so this should be fun. Before we dive into the finer mechanics of this game's crafting system, let's go ahead and set the scene real quick. We're a Vault Dweller from 101, and in this timeline, the Lone Wanderer has another friend. Something I can see being a thing since we and our dad are pretty well liked until the latter just pieces out without telling anybody. But not only did we help our buddy escape, but we went with him. Our Vault Dweller's generally a good person, if a little mischievous, but also has the idea of wanting to leave 101 and see the world, especially after overhearing the truth about how James and the Lone Wanderer were actually not born inside of the vault. But the two friends got separated, so here we are. We're going to be trying to track down James and our friend while working to better the schematics of any weapons we come across. Unfortunately, our heroine didn't really have time to prepare for departure and took a rather big risk coming outside without any means to defend herself, but that'll change soon. With our scene set, let's go ahead and talk about how crafted weapons work in this game. In order to be able to develop any crafted weapons, we need to find the schematics for them. Some are on vendors, others you can find throughout the wasteland in preset locations, others you can get for clearing quests. It feels pretty RPG-ish, right? Now compare that to New Vegas, where your recipes are locked behind skill checks and certain perks, and Fallout 4, where they're largely locked behind perks such as Gun Nut. I like the weapons you can make in Fallout New Vegas, and I'm a big fan of 4's perk system, so those are cool, but if we're talking about organically finding a recipe and building a weapon, then this game does the best job of making you feel like you earned a crafted weapon. It's a true blue, authentic RPG mechanic. Say what you will about some of 3's weaker elements, like some of the storytelling in the main narrative, but stuff like this is a straight-up grand slam. Speaking of New Vegas, though, I kinda want to do a run like this. Same rules and everything, crafted weapons only, but in New Vegas, so let me know if you guys would be interested in that, because there's a ton of cool stuff you can make in that game. But back to Fallout 3 here, the crafted weapons are all solid and worth getting, in my opinion. And what's awesome is that most workbenches come with a bottle cap mine so we can save up on materials. Others are just freebies there for the taking, but either way, we're going to be grabbing all of those bad boys. Speaking of materials, each crafted weapon has a couple of specific items needed to create them. So not only do we need the schematic, but we also need to track down the parts and then bring them to a workbench. I figure it's best to start off going for the rocket launcher, since Moira Brown sells a schematic for it, and she also sells the parts needed to build your own. The Wandering Merchant, Crow, also carries a copy, so maybe we'll get lucky. The problem is that the schematics cost a ton of caps, an issue I could have somewhat alleviated with investing more in barter, but I don't mind it, plus barter didn't feel like a tag skill this character would take, makes it more challenging too. But the crafting in this game gets even better. There are multiple schematics, and each one improves upon the design of the original, and I think that's just so darn cool. The amount of schematics you have will also determine the quality of the weapon you design. So for example, if we have one schematic of, say, the railway rifle, we produce it with a condition equal to 75% of our repair score. If you have 2, that's 100% of your repair score, and if you have 3, the weapon's condition is a whopping 125% of your repair score. Repair is also important because if we want to maintain our own gear and avoid vendors, A higher score means we can keep it in decent condition. This is why it's also important to keep as many items stowed away so you can create multiple crafted weapons. When we get a second schematic for better weapon quality, we can also use our old ones to repair the new and improved one we make. Now, most of these weapons are good, and in particular, the Nuka Grenade is extremely powerful. But since we're going for the rocket launcher first, let's go into a bit more detail about that one, since it is unique amongst the crafted weapons. The rocket launcher is unique because it's the only weapon in the game that can fire any sort of junk you put into it. With this weapon, suddenly you're playing the game in a very different way. Not only are we collecting scrap and other materials to make our goodies, but the rocket launcher's ammunition also consists of random junk you'll find lying around. Damaged garden gnomes, small burned books, stacks of pre-war money, you name it. Of course, keeping the rocket launcher loaded means we're going to be carrying around a lot of junk, which means that's going to affect our carrying capacity quite a bit. So while the Wasteland is our oyster, we still have to be selective about what we use and what we pick up. Oh, and you can also pick up the items you shoot from the rocket launcher, meaning that you have a fun little self-sufficient system going. It really is a fun weapon to use, and I'm very excited, though my personal favorite amongst the crafted weapons is the railway rifle. Cool design, cool concept, and you fire frickin' railroad spikes at enemies. How cool is that? Oh, and real quick for our OC, there's a very specific reason why I chose for her to be a Vault Dweller. You'll see why later on in this run, but I promise you this is a deliberate tactical choice. If we choose to return to 101, we can any time after the Waters of Life is complete, and we've gotten Dr. Lee and her science bros safely to the Citadel where the Lion's Pride is holed up. And yeah, we're almost 7 minutes in, but we finally have our rocket launcher, which is amazing. I had to show you part of this journey because it took a while to get to this point, and I thought it would have been kind of cheap if I just jumped right till we got the rocket launcher. It wouldn't have done the start of this run justice if I had done that. But now that we have a weapon, let's go kick some butt, shall we? Well, I have to say, I was not expecting to one-shot Arkansas, but very happy with that. We're also doing this quest because Moira Brown gives us a schematic for the bottle cap mines. Those are very easy to make and do cost us a bit of our own bottle caps, hence bottle cap mine, but that's also a really good crafted weapon. Now, one great thing about emptying out Minefield here is that the houses are ripe with junk, so we're definitely going to be coming back here. But with 2 schematics under our belt now, what do you say we head on and get a new weapon? One of my personal favorite weapons, not just crafted weapons, but weapons in general, the shish kebab. And you can get that by going to Erifu and helping out with Vance and the residents of Erifu. Oh, and if you do decide to come here and do this quest, make sure that you get the letter from Lucy West back in Megaton, because you can use that item to bypass any skill checks to result in the best possible outcome for this place. Oh, and check this out, 19% speech? That ain't nothing for us. Oh yeah, that's right, Rousador was born with a silver tongue and a greasy pompadour, little known fact. So now that we passed that speech check, we can go ahead and talk to Ian West here. Let him know that he does still have family out there, that his sister's concerned, and that he probably should get out of here because it's best for him, although I do kind of like these guys here at Meresti. Now, as we make our way back to Vance, not only are we going to get our shish kebab for resolving this little issue, but all we got to do is run an errand to Erifu and then come back, and we can get the hematophage, I think that's pronounced, perk. So the blood packs will heal us by 20 hit points, making them very useful. And speaking of Erifu, in order to get the repair bobblehead, we have to break into Evan King's house or wait for him to open the door. I wasn't able to find him opening the door in this case. He won't attack you as long as you just leave early, so we're here just to get the bobblehead, and then big it a bounce. So we're gonna head on over to the Arlington Library. We haven't gotten this quest from Moira Brown yet, but I always like to get this fast travel point, and because I always have pre-war books, and fighting the Talon Company here is usually pretty fun, and this here is no exception. So the shish kebab is pretty effective against these Talon Company mercs, but there's nothing like a good old bonk on the head. That's the kind of overkill we love here on this channel. Oh god, I love this weapon so much. Now, we may deal a lot of damage ourselves, but we are wearing extremely light armor, I hesitate to call it that. And the Talon Company mercs stationed up near Arlington Library are pretty well armed. These guys even have a pretty powerful robot. Last time we were here, they had a sentry bot. I think I was a little bit higher level when I was doing this before. But the Robo-Brains are certainly no pushover either. They have a very fast laser weapon. They have that psionic mind blast thing. That does bring up a good point, however. For as awesome as the crafted weapons are, they share one mutual weakness, and it's that we aren't really good at range with any of them. The rocket launcher is fun but extremely inaccurate. The dart gun also not great at range, but it is quiet. The railway rifle is strong, but only good for short to mid-range combat. Nuclear grenade, kind of the same thing, except you don't want to be too close to it. The bottle cap mine's range is where you place them. And we could really use a decent ranged weapon here against this particular Talon Company merc. He's hitting us pretty hard with that sniper rifle. Since we're relying on VATS to take this guy out, I'm thinking the rocket launcher is the way to go. Currently, our big guns is our highest weapon skill. But if we can defeat this guy, then we can make our way to the library, and then we will have a repeatable income source of 100 bottle caps per pre-war book. You can load the pre-war books into the rocket launcher, but I wouldn't recommend it. But yeah, the shootout with this guy was pretty intense, although it's pretty funny considering that he's got a sniper rifle, and we have a customized launcher that just fires random junk, and we still win. Well, that was fun. Let's go get more junk and our next bobblehead, shall we? Now, unlike the Talon Company mercs, the insane survivors of Vault 106 are extremely easy to fight. This place is also a gold mine for the rocket launcher. It's another place we're going to be making frequent trips to. And I don't know about you guys, but I've always really liked Vault 106. The atmosphere is excellent. It's super creepy. There's some skill checks you can make use of that reward you if you invest in certain ones like lockpick and science. Of course, the science bobbleheads here. It's just a well-crafted dungeon with some interesting lore. Creepy ambience, although the enemies are pretty easy, though I will say, if the enemies here were difficult, that would be a little bit immersion breaking because they are just human like us at the end of the day. You want a difficult vault, you go to Vault 92, that place is full of some hard-hitting enemies. Alright, now that our Tinker has been exploring the wasteland and honing her skills with crafted weapons, let's progress with the main story, go to GNR, and fight the super mutant behemoth with the rocket launcher. You know, the fact that we were able to actually knock off a bar of its health with the rocket launcher gives me a little bit of hope. It sure is a good thing that there are Brotherhood of Steel essentials here who just keep on getting up and can essentially tank for us, and by tank, I mean they fall in one hit because it's a super mutant behemoth. No way are we fighting this guy with the shish kebab. I was considering the bottle cap mines, but he does move pretty fast and it could catch up to us, so I didn't want to take that risk. Rocket launcher is safe. It does good enough damage considering that it's a behemoth, and we can pick up anything that we launch. I could just imagine setting alliance being like, yo, go get the fat man. It's like, dude, I don't need a fat man. I got a rocket launcher. Watch and weep, lions. A little bonk on the head and he goes down. Best weapon ever. And now, before we start Three Dogs Quest, we're going to go grab us another schematic. This is one you can actually get very early, as soon as you get to Rivet City. One of the merchants, Bannon, down in the Rivet City market has a quest for you. It's unmarked, and him and another guy named Seagrave are running for city council. Bannon says that there's incriminating evidence regarding this guy's past, and, well, once you read the note, you find out that Seagrave Holmes was, in fact, friends with Eulogy Jones of Paradise Falls, the very same guy. Getting into Seagrave's room is very easy. You just pass an easy lockpick check. You go in there, and some of the stuff is unmarked, too, which is great for our rocket launcher. And then once we tell Bannon what's up, we gotta go find someone named Commander Danvers, who is second in command, second only to Harkness here in the security force for Rivet City. You show her the letter, you make sure you don't tell her that Bannon's trying to blackmail him. By submitting the letter in this manner, once you return to Bannon, not only do you get a discount at the Potomac Attire, but Bannon also has a nice little reward for you. We now have our first schematic for the Deathclaw Gauntlet. Of course, we have to kill a Deathclaw and get a Deathclaw hand as part of the materials, so we're going to hold off on that for the time being. I just wanted to get the schematics. Okay, so now we're going to go to Three Dog and let him know what's up. Apparently, our friend, the Lone Wanderer, did come by here, and I'm going to say in this timeline that the Lone Wanderer passed that speech check, which actually bypasses the quest altogether, and is headed to Rivet City. Of course, our Tinkerer isn't so lucky this time around. Yeah, we have the option to do it, but we're gonna make like we don't. Three Dog needs someone to help him with fighting the good fight and getting his radio station to broadcast farther, and honestly, I'd say our character's pretty into it. So, equipped with our trusty rocket launcher, shish kebab, and a couple of bottle cap mines I haven't used yet, fighting the super mutants here at the Museum of History is not too bad. Speaking of the shish kebab, as the one comes down the stairs, we'll switch to it. A couple swings, he goes down. Also, gotta say, I absolutely love the little oven mitten that you use to hold the shish kebab. It's kind of adorable. As we level up, it takes me a second to think about a perk, but we're gonna go with Strongback because that means we can carry more junk for our rocket launcher. And it's time for us to get 3 stealth boys, which you can get right at the beginning here of the Museum of Tech. And I have to say, it feels pretty awesome coming through this place with a big gun. A lot of the characters we've done Fallout 3 runs with have small guns, and it's always cool to go to the National Guard Armory, which I might do anyway, just to help out our small guns, because Railway Rifle is a small gun. But going through here, I'm like, I have to play as another character who has big guns, because this is really fun. Though I have to say, our little venture through the Museum of Tech here isn't too bad, because we are a bit overleveled for this place. Though we do fight a super mutant brute, so it's gonna get a little exciting here. We take a bit of damage, but give him the old head bonk treatment, and then we're gonna grab that radar dish, and then get on out of here. Now, in my Fallout 3 3-dog run, I used a stealth boy to get out of here, but not this time, getting some revenge on these super mutants. Next up, we're gonna grab our next schematic here in Underworld. It's on the way with the main quest anyway, so no harm in coming over here. Haven't been here in a good while anyway. I really like this area. And we can get our schematics for the railway rifle from good old Tulip here. We can also get a companion here, a ghoul bodyguard named Sharon. I believe Sharon and Dogmeat are the only 2 who are not locked behind Karma. Feel free to correct me on that. So now we have the schematic of my favorite crafted weapon. So we gotta go find some railway spikes. They're a bit more uncommon, so we're probably not gonna be using this for a little bit, but it's good to have the schematic for now. We're continuing our search for James and our friend, and turns out that our buddy, the Lone Wanderer, is actually at Rivet City, so we're coming here to investigate and help out a little bit. And hey, what better way to put our crafted weapons to the test than to clear out a super mutant-infested Jefferson Memorial? We do gotta be a little careful against the super mutant brutes. Once we start fighting masters, who usually have Chinese assault rifles, we probably should be a bit more tactful. And hey, speaking of tactful, check this out. We actually land a sneak attack crit on the super mutant brute by bonking him with some random junk. Imagine being a super mutant. You're this giant, jacked humanoid. You're part of a race that's renowned for being tough and very aggressive, to the point where you can one-hand miniguns, only to get taken out by having an empty soda bottle shot in your face. Now that we found the holotapes in regards to Project Purity, we can report back to our buddy at Dr. Lee's lab, and then we're going to head on over to Vault 112. But before that, let's go and get our next schematic, the dart gun. You can get one here at Tenpenny Tower, Lydia Montenegro, or Michael Masters if you've already helped out Roy Phillips, whether you've raided Tenpenny Tower, or you've opted for the peaceful solution. Either of those 2 NPCs will sell it to you. And I'll tell you, the dart gun is absolutely game-changing because death claws are very fast, but the dart gun also cripples legs, which of course snares an opponent. That makes the death claws a bit easier to fight. However, that doesn't necessarily make them free, however. So we're going to do a bit of old only because we need Deathclaw hands for our Deathclaw gauntlet. So that might have looked easy, but here in a sec at old only because I fell into the sewers because I'm a total klutz, also true in real life. Down here in the sewers where the quarters are extremely cramped, yeah, we do get the element of surprise here. We get the jump on the Deathclaw. But considering that we don't have a lot of room to move around and we don't deal a ton of damage with the rocket launcher, and down here in particular, you want to make sure that you only pull one at a time, because if you pull a second one and it hasn't been crippled by the dart gun, you're in for a pretty bad time. And although we're able to kite this bad boy somewhat, eventually we are going to get backed into a corner here, and we're not doing that much damage with our rocket launcher, all things considered. Switching over to our shish kebab, we are 1 hit away from death by the time we take out this Deathclaw. That might have looked easy, but no, that was, I was on the edge of my seat on that fight. I thought we were gonna die there. So, having listened to the holotapes, I actually did listen to them this time, because I haven't listened to the holotapes in a while, and it kind of helps me get into the custom characters I play as. We managed to track James to a place called Vault 112, which is underneath a place called Smith Casey's Garage. James is on the hunt for this little plot device called a GECK, which he believes is going to help him jumpstart Project Purity. Problem is that Vault 112 is run by a mad scientist named Dr. Stanislaus Braun, or if you've watched my Caesar's Legion Tale of Two Wastelands Let's Play, we call him Dr. Betty. That's what our Legionary calls him anyway. But yeah, obviously we're going to take the good way out of here. The key to this puzzle is to listen to Dr. Betty's whistling patterns, because the way that she whistles the rhythm is exactly the same sound effects that you can get while clicking some of the random items in there. And no, unfortunately, I cannot bring these with me on my way out back to the real world for our rocket launcher. That would be amazing. But yeah, we've successfully rescued James, so before we head on back over to Jefferson Memorial, let's get our last bobblehead, and This was pretty funny because I remembered that the Big Guns bobblehead was at Fort Constantine. I was getting ready to go inside of that fort and start throwing down, but I didn't know that it was in this little house here in the basement with this open safe. I completely forgot about that. Well, that was very lucky, and I believe that locked door requires, what was it? Doesn't a guy named Crowley from Underworld have the keys for that door or something? I'll have to check that out sometime. Okay, one more pit stop before we reunite with James and our lone wanderer buddy. You know Paradise Falls is gonna be fun with our current weapons. When we are absolutely drowning in Stealth Boy, so it's time to go Metal Gear on these guys. I just love how the flames of our shish kebab are also apparently covered in stealth. I would think that they'd still be visible despite our Stealth Boy, but hey, I don't understand futuristic tech. Normally we come in guns a-blazing, but no need to this time. I'm thinking that the shish kebab is definitely the best choice here for Paradise Falls. And we've been giving a lot of love to the rocket launcher, so it's about time that we indulge in melee a bit here. So as we enter Paradise Falls, we're going to start off by picking off some lone slavers, and then make our way on over to the clinic where Cutter is. We want to take out Cutter because, well, she's an enemy, and she has a key that will allow us access to her personal stash of inventory. She has two. She has medicinal supplies, and she's got chems. All said and done, we're going to go take out Minigun Guy, who could be real problematic for us. Now, we do hit caution, so we got to be careful. And I gotta say, we luck out pretty hard here because our Stealth Boy has worn off, just as we're crouching and sneak. And I guess our skill is high enough to where we didn't get detected, so we can just slap on another one. I have been investing points into sneak, by the way. I've actually been investing in a lot of skills because I plan on getting to a pretty high level for this run because I want to fight some pretty hard super mutants inside of Vault 87. One Stealth Boy, a flaming sword is pretty much all you need to clear out Paradise Falls here. I'm not used to this place being so, one-sided, but I'm very much alright with that. Who would have thought that our Tinkerer protagonist was apparently the descendant of Solid Snake? Now, what happens next here is pretty funny. As we take out Jotun, apparently another slaver here gets into combat with a potential companion. We're not going to be able to recruit her because Paradise Falls is hostile to us. I've never seen anyone inside of Paradise Falls fight each other, though, so that was kind of interesting. So, as we pick off more of the riffraff here, before our showdown with Eulogy Jones, I'm thinking, let's go ahead and circle back to the other merchant here, so we can take him out as well as his bodyguard, because, just like with Cutter, that guy, Pronto I think's his name, has a key for his lock-and-load supplies. Well, we are going to be coming back here later on, what is that, like 4 places we have to backtrack to pick up junk, as well as inventory in this case. But we're not done yet, however. We still have to kill Eulogy Jones and set the slaves free here. That includes the Little Lamplighter, so we can get access to Little Lamplight. Only got one more guy to take out before we fight the big man himself, and apparently this slaver here was an apprentice for the phase shift ninjas, but failed in his courses spectacularly because he goes to phase out, but we hit him anyway. So as we get ready to throw down with Eulogy Jones, we're gonna switch over to the railway rifle. We shoot him in the head, Night of the Living Dead style, VATS him up, and as we get out of VATS, one more shot, he's down. I gotta say, there's something really symbolic about killing a slave or kingpin with the signature weapon of the railroad. So, back at Jefferson Memorial, things have taken a turn for the worse as Colonel Autumn and the Enclave have accosted James, the scientist, and our friends, so it's up to us to save them. So, as we pot-shot the first Enclave goon to get his attention, let's go ahead and change things up a little bit. We've seen some of the other weapons, so let's bust out the Deathclaw Gauntlet. And yeah, I made sure to track down the unarmed bobblehead to give us a +10 to our unarmed skill. With the first one already down, onto the next room, use the dart gun to pot-shot the Enclave goon, switch back to our Deathclaw Gauntlet. The dart gun also has a poison that damages the enemy over time, so that's really nice. We're not doing as much damage with this gauntlet, but just wait till we start sinking some points into unarmed. Anywho, once we get to the rotunda, James sacrifices himself, and unfortunately the Lone Wanderer is also inside of the chamber. The Lone Wanderer is on board with sacrificing themselves to help us escape. So now, our character went from being a little adventurous sidekick to becoming an unlikely hero. Taft Tunnels isn't too difficult, but what was really cool this time is that we actually managed to save all 3 of the scientists. Dr. Lee, Garza, whom we gave 5 stim packs to, Daniel Agincourt, and Alex Dargan. Over here at Lamplight, we've already helped out the kids back at Paradise Falls, so now we are bypassing Murder Pass with our awesome science skill. And you see that 100 lockpick? Can you tell that I went to the Bethesda ruins to get the lockpick bobblehead? That took like 5 minutes because, again, we have all these stealth boys. I might as well put them to use, right? And we're about to get another one. And there's a Nuka-Cola Quantum. We'll need that for another quest. Those of you who have watched many of my Fallout 3 ones probably know which quest I'm talking about, and it's really bothered me that we haven't been able to complete it yet. So yeah, we got the Nuka-Cola Quantum, the Stealth Boy. We're gonna go ahead and fry some rad roaches with our trusty old shish kebab, and then once that's done, we're gonna switch on over to the railway rifle and start taking on the first batch of super mutants. And turns out I was right to invest in sneak so heavily because there's a super mutant master here. We do get a sneak attack crit on him, but you can see just how little damage that deals. So we'll backtrack, go and pop some trusty Yao Guai meat, switch to our shish kebab, and start swinging. Yeah, that's much better damage. We'll go ahead and close the door, that way the mutie's gotta open it, which gives us a free attack in VATS, and that's a brilliant two-shot. Man, that death animation was something else. We got one more to take out, so we'll go ahead and pot-shot this super mutant brute with our dart gun, crippling him, afflicting him with a minor poison, and then we can lure him and take him out with relative ease. I figure for this kill, we'll go ahead and switch up to the Deathclaw Gauntlet. Get some variety in here, you know what I mean? Making our way on over to the next area, Dart Gun is the perfect silent weapon to attack this Super Mutant Master, get a sneak attack on him, cripple him. We close the door. You guys know this routine by now, I'm sure. I could go for the Shish Kebab, but I'm feeling the Deathclaw Gauntlet. I really like this weapon, too. I mean, I like all the crafted weapons, but the Deathclaw Gauntlet's design is very cool. I'd love to use this thing in New Vegas and slap some Bleak Venom or some, what is it, the Datura Venom or whatever. And now, coming up here, we have a bit of bad luck here. 83% chance to hit the head, and none of our shots hit. That's whatever. You win some, you lose some. But once we do hit, we can go ahead and switch over to the Shish Kebab and shred this dude. And thanks to us having a good sneak skill as the one mutant comes down to investigate, normally he'll follow us into the corridor. Some of my earlier runs he's done that, especially in Faction Warriors. Not this time, however. So, under the cover of darkness and having a high stealth skill, the Hunter has become the Hunted as we track this guy, smack him with a good old dart. So this brute just can't seem to find us, so we're gonna switch on over to the railway rifle, track this big green down, go into VATS, and target his giant left arm. A good old sneak attack crit with two others bring his health very low. 2 more shots takes him down. Now, as we make our way up to the adjacent corridor here, where we have another super mutant to fight, it's actually a super mutant master due to our level. I know what you're thinking. We haven't really seen any of the bottle cap mines yet. Well, my friends, you're in luck. So what we're going to do is we're going to place it, and we are going to get intentionally spotted. That way he comes towards us. But under the cover of darkness, I don't think he's going to see the little gift we left for him. And, well, you see that plus 55 XP. One shot, it's donezo. Now, I am dying to see what's behind this very hard lockpick door because I don't remember it at all. And turns out this is just a way to skip the scripted encounter with the pair of super mutants who will attack you on the walkway. That's pretty cool, I gotta say. I completely forgot about this. It's like every time I do a Faction Warriors run here in the Capital Wasteland, I run by that door and I'm like, I gotta know what's in there, man. I don't remember if I've ever even done it. I don't even remember if I've opened that door before, but that was awesome. And speaking of awesome, what do you say we have some more fun with the bottle cap mines here? And I was trying to lure the Super Mutant Master here, but we end up going back into Hidden because, again, our sneak very high. I want to say it's 70 or 80. So the best way is to lure him up with our railway rifle, and, well, we can admire the awesome reload animation of the railway rifle as the Super Mutant Master gets blown into chunky verde salsa. Now, there is one more Super Mutant Master down here, and I was thinking about using the bottle cap mine, but we're going to save that for a little bit later, actually. Here's where I decide to get really cheeky. I'm going to keep luring this guy up with shots of our dart gun, and he will eventually spot us because I want him to, and I want him to follow us up here to this awesome room that lets you skip that scripted encounter. Switch up to the shish kebab and let that weapon live up to its name. I actually haven't been down in the room where their super mutants were hanging out in a good while, so we're going to go ahead and head down there. And we get some pretty useful junk down here. Some scrap metal we can sell to Walter for 10 bottle caps a pop. Make our way back up, bust open that average locked door, and we want this one because there is another Nuka-Cola Quantum inside. This will bring us to 30. I'll go and crack open that average safe. A bit disappointing, but hey, I do like the XP. Laser rifle, we can give that to Protector Caston. Bunch of Radaway in here, very useful. So as we make our way to the trio of super mutants, we're going to pop a stealth blade, but we're not going to bypass them. We are going to fight these guys, starting with the super mutant master here, who we take out courtesy of an ambush. We got another safe to crack open. This one's useful. Got some purified water, some stim packs, Rad-X, Radaway, all useful stuff. We bank the corner and have a master and a brute to fight, so this ought to be fun. And it's pretty funny. I actually tried to lure these guys over to get blown up by the bottle cap mine, but that didn't work out, so I just ended up shooting them with the dart gun enough times to take out the brute. The master, of course, aggroes us, but we take him out very easily. Because, I mean, with his health very low and our Deathclaw gauntlet, yeah, no dice. Okay, the coast is all clear here, so gonna go ahead and head up to the next area of Vault 87. Open up that door, it's VATS time, baby. Couple shots of our railway rifle takes this bad boy down. And I gotta say, I am very glad I chose to invest so heavily in lockpicking. It's been a long time since I played a character with maxed out lockpick, and this definitely feels like the dungeon where that comes into play full swing. Our science check is pretty high too, I think it's 85 right now. Oh man, get a load of this. So this centaur, right, we take him out with our railway rifle. We overkill him so much that we just straight up delete him from the game. Well, next up, we're going to be battling a super mutant brute, and unfortunately, we do not rip a hole in the space-time continuum and send him packing into the ether. But we do have a pretty fun shootout with this big guy. Now, the thing about the railway rifle is that it does a lot of damage to limbs. I believe a single shot will cripple. Not too dissimilar to the dart gun. But yeah, that was a pretty fun little shootout. So we're going to go ahead, hit up Fawkes, talk to him. We're going to help him escape, like usual. And it's high time that we put our science check to work here. Now, you need 75 minimum to even be able to enter these terminals and attempt to hack them, and we're able to do so. Just gonna fade over to the last one here, because the last one here contains a human named Sid, and you can tell that good old Sid here is so grateful for our assistance as he immediately grabs a bludgeoning weapon and attempts to club us to death with it. Well, unfortunately for this guy, I think he's been trapped for a little bit too long because that little lead pipe of his doesn't really measure up to our arsenal. And we get a Merc Grunt outfit out of it too, so we can repair the one that we're wearing. So we're gonna pop us another stealth blade because we have an absolute abundance of them. And then as far as these super mutants go, I think they're always brutes. They seem to be. Lure them on out, and it's a good thing that we saved that bottle cap mine and that my previous plan just didn't work out. But as usual, luring them out with the dart gun, under the effects of a stealth blade especially, does require a bit of work, but that's what our choo-choo gun is for. I'd say we got some real mileage out of our bottle cap mines here in Vault 87. Very glad I was able to put those to good use. Be honest, you probably thought I just wasn't going to use them, didn't you? Anyway, only one more mutant to go down. He is Dunyan Rings, and we have unrestricted access to the fire alarm and this terminal, and I kind of forgot what was on it. You only need an average science to unlock it, and it turns out it's just for the rooms if you don't have the hard science check for each individual one. No option to incinerate, though. With Fawkes at our side, the rest of Vault 87 goes down pretty fast, so we're gonna go ahead and just cut over to where he gets the Gek for us, because we're not playing Faction Warriors, so he can go get it for us. After that, we get captured by Colonel Autumn, get brought to Raven Rock, but should he have done that? I don't know, it seems like a bad idea. Now, those of you who have been with the channel for a while know how we usually deal with this, but, I mean, this is the crafted weapons run. We gotta fight some Enclave soldiers here. Yeah, I know, I have a lot of stealth, boys. I could make this go faster, but you know what? I want to put these weapons to use, man. I love these things, especially the railway rifle. You say pew-pew, I say choo-choo. And I gotta say, squaring down with the first of these Enclave goons goes the absolute best way it can. Like, it says we're spotted, but apparently not by this one. So after we help this Enclave soldier with his crab walk audition, we got a couple more guys to take out, and some of these guys do hit hard. They do have plasma rifles, and we do have light armor. I don't have any official restrictions in regard to the armor I can wear, but I'm going with the light armor just to make it more challenging. Plus, I like the way that the Merc Grunt outfit looks on both the male and female Lone Wanderer. And hey, time to give the rocket launcher some love again. Haven't seen that weapon in a hot minute now, have we? I gotta say, I'm really loving the damage of our rocket launcher, doing a lot more to these Enclave soldiers than I thought. But as we make our way to Colonel Autumn's personal quarters, there are two Enclave goons who want to ambush us, but I say not today. Gonna pull out that sweet choo-choo rifle, go into VATS mode, and tear loose some limbs. And I have to say, I'm actually surprised. I was not expecting to one-shot that guy. And I guess the other guy was just paralyzed in fear at the sight of our awesome firearm, and he does try to mount an offense here, but he's really slow on the trigger. So although it says caution, the coast is clear for the time being. So we're gonna go ahead and raid Colonel Autumn's room. And this time around, in addition to the laser rifle in the cabinet, we are going to get the energy weapons bobblehead. It's the only time that you can get it. We have gotten quite a few at this point, besides the ones that we were required to get, but we'll show you that here in a little bit. And in addition to all the other goodies here, Colonel Autumn has a lot of plates and forks lying around. Just such a gentleman, leaving ammunition for our fabled rocket launcher. So first things first, we're going to break into that footlocker and get that Zack self-destruct holotape. And then we're going to access this terminal and shut down the security barrier, something I don't typically do in Faction Warriors because it's kind of a waste of time and the payout's not really worth it. This time around, though, I felt like it. We're also going to do something else a little different this time around as well. So this here is Anna Holt. She was a companion of Dr. Lee and James, and she's the reason why the Enclave was able to get to Jefferson Memorial. She basically ratted out the Project Purity team for a chance to work with the Enclave, and she doesn't want to work with these guys. She's impressed with their technology and all that good stuff, but that kind of came at the cost of her self-respect and sense of loyalty. So we do have the option to take her out or leave her alive, and we're gonna go ahead and just start pillaging through the stuff in this room because it's not like she's gonna stop us, right? What's she gonna do, come at us with her little pencil arm fists? But our OC decides that she wants revenge, and one railway spike to the back of the head's all she wrote. All said and done here, we just gotta backtrack to where we killed the two Enclave goons with the choo-choo gun. And then we're gonna cut on over to where the parasentry bots are guarding behind the Enclave goons. They gun them down, and we're gonna listen to the Zack's destruct sequence. Now, those of you who have been here for a while, you guys know I always show this because this is always somebody's first video, and they may not know about the holotape, so I like to show it off, and of course you gotta listen to it. You can't just have it in your possession to get the self-destruct code. I say that because that unlocks dialogue with President Eden. Now, what's interesting about this exchange is that because our OC actually is a Vault Dweller, she could go with this plan and would be unaffected, but that's not how our Vault Dweller rolls here. Because we were thorough in our search of Raven Rock and found the self-destruct holotape and got the code, we're able to turn the tables on President Eden here, and we are still going to take the modified FEV so that Elder Lyons and his team can dispose of it for us. Alright, it's time to go to Girder Shade and do something I've been wanting to do for quite a while now. With 30 Nuka-Cola Quantums in our possession, we can talk to Sierra Petrovita here, give her 30, and we get a schematic for the Nuka Grenade, and complete this quest. I've been wanting to do this for quite a while now. Also, Nuka Grenades are great. So we're going to part ways with Fawkes. We can pick him back up at Underworld, and we're going to return to Vault 101. Hey, you remember at the start of the run when I said that this was a tactical choice to make our OC a Vault Dweller? On one end, that does make playing through the main story a lot easier because we're essentially just doing what the Lone Wanderer would be doing, but we're just a friend of theirs. But there is another reason why I chose to do this, and I'm going to show you that here in a sec. Now, to be in character for a second here, I imagine that our Vault Dweller's reception is probably even more hostile and cold than that of the Lone Wanderer. Because, yeah, it's one thing that James and the Lone Wanderer are not native to 101, but the fact that an actual Vault Dweller would go outside, which to the residents of 101 is the most insane thing a person could do, willingly, and sided with the quote-unquote traitors, that's gotta be worse for these residents. And of course, the message that Amada broadcast was to the Lone Wanderer, not us, so that reunion's gonna be a little different and a little bittersweet once we tell her that our friend, our mutual friend, was killed at Jefferson Memorial. As for Butch Deloria, I imagine that our OC has a similar thought towards him that the Lone Wanderer and Amada would have had. Butch is trying to talk up his importance a bit here in 101, when he says that the security staff was scared of him once he took the handgun. But we all know that's just Butch being Butch. He wants to go out into the wasteland and test himself and get out of 101, which is admirable in and of itself, especially since our OC did the same thing. But our OC tells him that he would be mole rat chow within a day, so that's a bet those two are going to have to settle another day. And as we make our way to Amada, she's very surprised to see us and not the Lone Wanderer. We tell her everything that happened to our friend, what happened to James, everything with Project Purity, and why our friend had their lives cut drastically short. Someone who was certainly meant for great things, as is the Lone Wanderer in a casual playthrough. And it's up to us to finish our friend's legacy, our friend's father's legacy. This is the real reason why our OC decided to come back, was to just give Amada some closure, but after seeing the state of this vault, nah, it's time for a bit of change here. And our character receives equally bad news when we're told that our parents were killed during the chaos of 101 when James escaped. So, as tempting as it is to shove a railway spike into the Overseer's head, we're opting for a diplomatic solution here, because we don't care about this guy, but we care about the residents of 101 and want a better future for them, especially because Amada and the rebels want to open 101 to the outside world, which is the best for all parties concerned. Now, Alphonse is crazy, yes, but if you go to his terminal and you read the View External Contact report, the Enclave contacted him, and after much deliberation, he refused to let them inside. Probably a good idea, because we know what happened to a certain vault back in the events of Fallout 2. We defused the situation, but hey, the Overseer's not looking, so we're gonna steal all of his stuff, because our character is a little mischievous and doesn't like him anyway. So remember when I said that I wanted us to be from Vault 101? This right here is the reason why. Yep, you can find a schematic for the rocket launcher behind the framed Revelation 216. That makes 3 schematics we have for the rocket launcher. There are 4, but, I don't think we're going to get the 4th one in this run. Oh yeah, and Fawkes just kind of doesn't exist in my game anymore. I'm not sure what happened to him. But, well, since we have a bit of a reputation here at Underworld, we can go ahead and pay for Sharon's contract, because we're not doing Azure Call's quest. Sharon kills him for us, and we got a new party member. Now, before we commence with the final battle, just look at all these bobbleheads we got. Not only did I get the 3 that we're required to get, I grabbed small guns, explosives, melee, unarmed, everything that pertains to the crafted weapons, and because we already had big guns as a tag skill, obviously we got that back at Fort Constantine. Alright, it's time to go to Jefferson Memorial, and we're actually going to lead off with a weapon we have not used yet throughout the course of this entire run, that of course being the nuker grenade. You'll notice that we have 6 in total. I actually have 2 schematics for it. All I had to do was hunt down 3 quantums, so 2 schematics, you get 2 for every one that you craft. So we'll go ahead and buff up, and it's time to take out the Enclave. And gotta say, the first use of our nuker grenade goes off without a hitch. Instantly one-shot an Enclave goon, plus 50 XP. So I'm having a bit of fun with this weapon, and I don't realize that that guy in power armor is Sharon. I'm very glad that I had bad aim with that, because I could have killed him, and that would have been bad, because I want to use him for the Purifier. So we're going to switch to the Railroad signature weapon here, take out that Enclave goon. Only got a couple more to drop. Nice shot on that one there. Alright, looking real good here. We just got 1 more to go, and we gotta get a special VATS kill for this guy. Almost one-shot him when we shot him in the leg there. The second one does take him down. All that's left to do is have our showdown with Autumn and his pair of bodyguards. I actually end up going for the second speech check, and I think this is really cool because, correct me if I'm wrong, but the second option appears to be a fake out. So left with no other choice, and really, we weren't gonna let Autumn go anyway. Choo-choo rifle, headshot in VATS mode 2 takes him down. I think we knocked him into the waters below too, so we can have some chunky Autumn salsa while we're at it. So for the first of the 2 Enclave goons, we're gonna go back to our trusty rocket launcher, take him out pretty easily. Sharon's looking pretty hurt too, so we're gonna switch to our shish kebab and cut down the final goon before Sharon gets killed. And that's game, ladies and gentlemen. Another successful Fallout 3 run. I had so much fun with this, man. Like, I'm kind of sad that this run's over because it was such a blast from start to finish. And to be honest, I kind of want to try some of the DLCs with this character, like Broken Steel with these weapons. That'd be fun. Oh yeah, we gotta get Sharon in there. He does say he doesn't recall this being part of the plan, but don't worry about that. You can pick either of these options, and he will go in and enter the code for you. I should use Sharon in more runs more often. I always really liked him. But yeah, God, that run was fun. Just tracking down the schematics. Just having a ton of fun with the rocket launcher, which doubles as a big gun, which is the first type of big gun we've had here on this channel for Fallout 3. Absolutely loved it. But yeah, if you guys want to see a Fallout New Vegas version of this run with crafted weapons only, let me know, and I will definitely get to work on that, because that sounds like a really good time as well. But speaking of Fallout New Vegas, however, our next run in Fallout New Vegas is going to be as a Talon Company mercenary. We got the Faction Warriors Regulator run coming soon, our first Elder Scrolls Oblivion run, keeping that a secret because that's going to be a ton of fun. And our Elder Scrolls Oblivion Let's Play is right around the corner. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you at the next run. Later.